I don't know where to start. I don't know what I want to say or how I want to say it or what needs to be conveyed. See, every day I like to think that I'm getting better as a person, that I'm recognizing little things about myself that need to be changed. And I've always considered myself an open minded person to the extent that when something is presented to me that I am able to change my view on it and progress forward. Like, I think it's important to be able to acknowledge when you're wrong about something and learn from it. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. It would be worse to be wrong. I got a message. Let's get rid of that. It's worse to be wrong about something and then refuse to change rather than accept that you were wrong and take the appropriate actions to correct that. That's the kind of person that I think I am. At least I want to believe that. There was a time when I was not necessarily heavy into religion, but I was able to look at certain things and then reevaluate that. And I didn't take it as a defeat. I wasn't wrong. I was misled. Or not even if I was wrong, I could accept that my way of thinking was inaccurate and that I could progress forward. That being said, I'm well aware that I am a prideful person. You know, the other day I was talking about the giving tree and how I like to give and I want my people to be good. And there are very few things in my life that are just for me. And and I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I don't think there's any shame in that. I don't think that that's something that I would want to change. It's like I do something for myself, but I also want to make sure that my people are good. I went out and I got shirts that say "Believe in the Shield." It's like you have to get all three, or it doesn't matter. And that's important to me, and I stand behind that. I wouldn't change that about me for the world. The one thing that is just for me is my writing. Like, that's my whole world. Like, I can sit down and write and the real world just kind of melts away and I can get lost in thought and engage with these characters and see a little bit of me in each one, I guess. And I was talking to my wife earlier as a direct result of a conversation I had had with somebody else, and we were talking about character development and how each of these people in this story had grown from seasons 1 to season 7 and continue to grow. And the arcs are there. And I admit that it's written like a series. It's written in such a way that it'll never be done. It'll never be over. Like a year from now, in video number 1600 or whatever, I'll be talking about season 24, I think. Like, I'll always be doing this. And I'll always be answering questions and I'll always be looking for new questions. And originally, my wife wasn't into it. It just wasn't her thing. I've got a fuck ton of fan fiction just sitting up on fanfiction.net that she didn't touch. And that's fine, because it wasn't her thing. But she got into this with me because she saw how passionate I was about it. And I can, like the other day, I was watching this video. There was a guy who was like, here are the 8 steps to a good story. And I'm like, oh man, maybe I'll learn something new. And as he's naming off these plot points and the things to do, it's like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that too. Yeah, I've done that too. You see, all the things that these, so-called professionals were saying to do were things that I had, from trial and error, learned how to do along the way. I'll admit that my very first story, I mean, if you just really want to go back, my very first story was Any Which Way But Loose. I was like 5 years old. But as I decided that I was writing novels, As the days go by, it was 1,114 pages handwritten. And that was a major accomplishment. I had a binder, and every day I would write a little bit more. And it was an echo of my life. And I can look back at it now and go, oh my God, that was garbage. It was complete garbage. But I was learning, and I was honing my craft to the point that I could write a story, and it would be like 3 pages long. But now, if I were to attempt to sit down and do the same thing, like, I couldn't write a story in 3 pages. It's not possible. Like, even the shortest ones would have to stretch out to 10 pages, and then I don't even know if I could get a satisfying conclusion out of that, because I have so much to say. And these people are my babies, and I love this story, and I love sharing it with whomever will read it. So I will share it with a select few people. Not so much that I'm trying to avoid negative feedback, but I also know this is my heart and soul. Like, it's not gonna win any Nobel prizes. It's not gonna, like the Saban from Power Rangers isn't gonna go, oh my God, this is fantastic. We need to make this a series right away. It's Power Rangers is the backdrop of characters whom I have developed over a series of just years. There's the soldier who feels overlooked, despite the fact that he's given it his all. You've got the two young, eager cadets who just want to get in there and make a difference. You've got the girl who's all about her business and doesn't feel like there's any time for fraternization. She just needs to get in here, get the mission done, get out. Yeah, you've got a big, strong dude who's a big softy at heart who needs to make a name for himself so that he is viewed by others. And he had a bad relationship with his dad, so he's looking to justify himself. You've got a guy who's wrapped up in his own religion and can't see past that. And once he learns that it's not what he thinks it is, he's on a whole journey of self-discovery. And as these people progress together through the story, they learn more about themselves. They learn more about each other. And it goes and it grows. And that's who I am. I am a storyteller. I was telling my wife the other day, I personally, when I die, prefer to be cremated. But if I were to die, and if I were to have a tombstone, on my tombstone, I would like it to read, "He told a good story." Because that's who I am at heart. I'm a storyteller. That's my thing. Oh, Asia's back. I won't turn the camera because she's got out of the shower. That would just be a whole mess. So, at my heart, that's who I am. So, having a conversation this evening with my wife made me look at a few things. I want to say critically. Like, maybe I wasn't thinking about them critically before, but now I kind of had to. So I'm looking at these things, and then I engage in a conversation, and I'm left to believe that I'm still somewhat a slave to my own insecurities. You see, I love the world that I have created, not just this world, like many worlds, from Anarians to Pantherians to Tractacarians to Amesians to Exybrians. Like, I've created this entire universe full of people. And to have that criticized where I feel it's irrational was bothersome. It was bothersome to me. It's like, how could you? How do you not see what this is? And my wife said something to me, and I don't know if you did it on purpose. I don't know if you meant to strike this chord, but she started naming off people. She was like, well, what if Leslie wrote it? I mean, what if Leslie read it and said he didn't like it? Leslie's like my old roommate. We couldn't give a F less about that guy. She said, well, what if Zach read it? Zach was the dude who used to live here. And it's like, we don't, I have no opinion of him whatsoever. It's like, to hate him would be a waste of time. And I thought about it, it's like, well, I don't give a damn about any of these people. So why would I concern myself with their opinions? And she was like, I don't know. I don't know if you said it indirectly or if you made me think it, but the fact that the person who made these claims said it and I let it bother me, was it about the person or was it about the critique of the material, or was it both? And I had to take a hard look at that, and I want to say in my heart of hearts that if anybody were to critique my work and have something less than stellar to say, or a critique that I felt as though was unjustified, that I would defend it. But realistically, I think I may have had a soft spot for this person. It's not like, oh, I was attracted to the girl and I was gonna run off and do shit. It wasn't like that at all. I think I kind of viewed her as a project, and that's wrong of me. That's really wrong of me. I saw her as a project. Here was this girl who didn't know how to express herself, so in order to prevent herself from being close to people, she would stir up shit and let them leave on their own so she could say, see, I knew it, you were just gonna leave anyway. And I was trying to get her to see that and get past that, but in doing so got wrapped up in the unnecessary chaos that was her life. So I had to take a step back from that, and I wasn't looking at it critically. I can say that now. I wasn't looking at that situation critically. I had an emotional thing. It was the idea that I had walked away from a project. I had seen somebody whom I had said, I'm going to dedicate X amount of time to helping them come out of that. And when I found that, like, the force was just too strong for me, her bullshit was too much for me to get through, I had to stop. It was me having to say, it's too much, I can't, I'm giving up. And I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to be the kind of person who said, oh, it was too hard, so I let it go. But some people just want to see the fucking world burn. Some people are just toxic, and you just have to let them go for your own sanity. Like, look, it's my birthday weekend. I couldn't give a shit less about my birthday, and I'll tell you why. I don't want things to be just for me. Like, I enjoy things more when I know that people I care about enjoy them with me. So when you say, hey, here's your birthday, here's a day that's just for you, I don't know how to accept that for myself. I want to do things for my wife. It's who I am. It's who we are. I want to do things. Like, we've got soda here. Tahija Treat reminds me of my dad. And she says, hey, you want me to get you some ice? And I'll say no. But then I'll get up and I'll get ice. And I'll be like, do you want ice, honey? And she's like, I can get it. It's like, no, I don't want you to get it. I want to do that for you. Because at the heart of who I am, that's who I am. But it's my birthday weekend. And part of what my wife wants to do is do things for me. And I need to learn how to accept that. The same way that I need to learn how to accept that all battles can't be won. Picard said it, and I hold this. It's a big deal for me. It's possible to do everything right and still lose. And in my mind, I had done everything I could in an attempt to reform this person and say, look, there's a better way to do things. You don't have to be that way. But now I can take the step back, look at it critically, and say, it wasn't for me to change this person. This is who they are. You know, she's fucking Heath Ledger. She just wants to see shit burn. She wants to rob banks just to burn the money. She just didn't want anybody else to have it. That's all that shit is. So when somebody whom I had adopted as a project, to somebody whom I had grown to respect as a person, to make unfounded claims about something that I was so passionate about, I immediately got defensive. the idea that you could say that the characters have no depth, that the world has no structure, that questions went unanswered and unanswered questions wasn't a plot twist. And it's like, I don't think you actually read it. There's no way you could have. There's absolutely no way you could have seen what I've seen and then say those things. So I got defensive. And my wife said, are you defensive because it's her, or are you defensive because you believe this? And it was probably a little bit of both. And my wife, I'm gonna tell that I notice your tale. My wife, when there's something that she would rather not deal with at the moment, or something that she thinks that I need time to marinate on, she'll say, I'm gonna go clean up the kitchen, or I'm gonna go take a shower, and she leaves for X amount of time to allow me to deal with things on my own, which I respect. Like, I appreciate that she can recognize that there are some things that I need to quite deal with on my own, so she leaves me be so that I can do that. And while she was gone, I had it out with this person. It was like, I'm not gonna do this with you. You're just not worth it. It's my birthday weekend. This is supposed to be a happy time for my family. Like my wife, I don't know what she got me, but apparently it's a big deal, and I'm excited about it. I really am. Like, even my sister, she sent me a message today, and she says, "What do you get the person who has everything?" I don't know, because I have everything I want. Like, my goal in life was get married, have a kid, get a place, be happy. I'm doing that right now. And while I'm not in the best place financially, I also know I have the skills to get it done. So that, not a concern for me. Not even okay, maybe a little bit, but not enough that I'm going to let it deter me from enjoying myself. Like, for the things that I don't handle, my wife handles for me, because we're a team and that's what we do. So I am not going to let anybody come in on my birthday weekend. Matter of fact, let's take the whole birthday weekend out of it for a minute. I'm not going to let anybody come in and take a shit on what I have dumped my entire soul into, based solely on the fact that they just want to see the world burn. I will not let your chaos come into my shit and fuck this up for me. I just won't. I won't let this infect my camaraderie with my wife. I use the word camaraderie because I don't want to say my marriage, because my marriage is not in jeopardy. But I'm looking forward to having a fun evening with my wife, and I'm not going to let this bitch or anybody else come in here and mess this up for me. My series is my baby. Like, you just don't know. I could sit and at great lengths with any of them have a conversation. My wife and I had a conversation. I said, pick a character at random. And we picked a character at random, and we talked about that person from progression to season 1 to season 7, the influences that got her where she was, the characters who had interacted, and the way their interactions with her changed them. Like, I know the world that I have built, and I have to stop saying that because I didn't build this world on my own. It is, as much as it's mine, it's my wife's, because her opinions has shaped this place. The way she does things shapes this place. Her attitude about it shaped this place. It's very much ours. It's our little world. And I won't let somebody who didn't take the time to read it criticize it and ruin my good time. I just won't. I fucking refuse. I won't. As I was arguing with this person, she says, see, I can tell you care because you're still here and you're still talking. And for a minute, I was buying it. I was like, shit, she's right. I'm still here, and I'm still, even now, I'm defending it. But I had to, again, objectively take a step back and say, well, you're still here too. You're still trying to fucking argue your point with me, and I don't feel your points are founded. I don't give a shit if you like Edgar Allan Poe. I don't give a shit if you read Harry Potter and you think my shit should be Harry Potter. It's just not. I don't need to have read the greats to tell my story. And at the end of the day, that's what this is. It's my story. It's me expressing myself through these people. It's my wife. There was a time my wife was dealing with something. This was season 1. That's how long ago this was. She was dealing with something and I couldn't get through to her. So instead of talking to her about it, I wrote the character for her and had her explain the situation. She was like, wow, that was for me, wasn't it? I was like, you're absolutely right. It was for you, because there was depth and there was character and it helped her get through a thing. And I can't even tell you what the thing was anymore. It was a long time ago, but now I can say with some certainty that this is our world. We did this through our actions, through our inactions, through conversations we've had, through research that I've done from different shows. We watch a lot of Power Rangers. I watch a lot of Star Trek. There are a lot of influences. I showed my wife an episode the other day from Star Trek The Next Generation season 1 with the I don't remember the name of the race, the Patari or something like that. And there are these little munchkin type dudes with big heads, and they like finish each other's sentences, which was I completely ripped that off. And I switched the names, I changed the name of the race, and I inserted them in there as a joke. But as they progressed, they became characters of their own. They got a whole episode that explained them in great detail. They got a whole arc that explained who they were. And you can't tell me these people don't have depth, that the world isn't adequately explained, because it is, and I know it. And the fact that I'm doing this video, this says to me, I put too much thought into this. But this is me. I have to get this out. I have to convey this message, because it's a failing of me to have the last word. But in some cases, you have to learn to let go. And this is me saying that I'm getting it all out here, now, and I'm capturing it in this moment. So the next time something like this happens, the next time somebody comes to me and has a critique about my life and they know nothing about me, or they have a critique about my work and didn't take the time to actually fucking read it, that I can say, don't let that person get to you. Don't let that, don't, not at all. See, there's this common misconception in today's society that if somebody doesn't agree with you, they're a hater. I'm sure you've heard it. I hear it all the time. It's like, oh, you just hating on me because I got this and I got that. But in order to be hating, you have to have something that person wants. So they're mad that you have it. So maybe, just maybe, they're not haters. Maybe they just don't like you. So I think she's a miserable person, and she needs everybody to be miserable with her. And I don't subscribe to that. I've had my share of misery. Look, both my parents are gone. Like, my grandparents thought I was too white. My grandparents on my father's side thought I was too black. My grandparents on my mother's side thought I was too white. So neither one of them wanted anything to do with me. My grandparents died. My father's father, on his deathbed, looked me in the eyes and said, "What are you doing here?" I have had my share of drama. I got out of a homeless shelter, and a month later my father died. It's like, I have had my share of drama. I will not allow anybody to come shit in my cornflakes. I've had enough misery in my life that I'm not going to let somebody come in here with their misery and fuck up my shit. Like, I have taken L's and bounced back. And now, shit, by comparison, I'm on top of the fucking world. This apartment is mine. This place is mine. My wife, mine. My son, mine. The list of accomplishments I have define who I am as a person now. And I like who I am. And I like where I'm going. And I like that I have an outlet where I can express myself. and create not just a world, not just a city, not just a town, an entire fucking universe. You know what? Even that's not enough. It's an entire fucking multiverse. In season 6, we hop from world to world, and each one of them had their own unique story, and they had to adapt to each one. Just at the end of that chapter, to swap it out and go to something else. I know this shit is good. It might not be Academy Award winning. It's not like I'm going to be on the New York Times bestseller with it, because let's be honest, when was a fan fiction ever on the New York Times bestseller? 50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fan fiction that made money, but it wasn't on the New York Times bestseller. It was just because sex sells. That's all that shit is. That's not what I write it for. I write it for me. I write it because there are voices in my head that demand to be heard, and I give them that voice. That's it. And if you're cool with that and you want to come along for the ride, I welcome anybody who wants to come along for the ride. Hell, I have such a good time writing it. But if you have a legitimate concern, a criticism, a critique, there's something you think should be different, I'll hear you out. But when your shit is unfounded, when your claims are bullshit, I have to call it what it is, and I'm not going to let that shit in my cornflakes tonight. I'm not. So, I, after 26 minutes and some change, have ranted about this enough. This will be the last you hear of this shit from me. And not just you hearing it from me in this video. This is the last it's going to come up tonight or any other fucking night, because I know what it is. My wife knows what it is because she helped me create it. And if you can't see the vision, that's fine. If you ain't with the movement, ain't no conversation. That's fine. You are entitled to your opinion, but opinions are like assholes. Everybody's fucking got one. What makes you think yours is better than anybody else's? It's just fucking not. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my evening on my 3-day birthday weekend with the most beautiful woman on the planet. And maybe, just maybe, if I'm lucky, Asia will come too. I love you.